Tan 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 tan. 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 Tan 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 tan.
You want to start this one, Elson?
You know, it is only downhill from the beginning whenever I have to do the intro. But somebody's gonna do it.
Somebody has to do it.
It's been I don't know if there's anybody that has been as consistent as us.
Every Tuesday without fail, 15 hours. And of course, every Tuesday brought to you by Brothers Mocktails, drinks that have been produced for quite a number of years now. A year now by Big Tree Beverages Limited.
Properly hide that bag that is behind you. Properly hide.
Yes. Anyway, our guest today.
Yes. And Techno Mobile.
And Techno Mobile, of course.
So they say that they're sending your...
My phone today.
Yes. So by the time that this is...
I will have my phone.
You will have your phone. You would have played around with it. Installed a couple of dating apps that you're going to hide in there.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, our guest today is one that many of you have suggested. Whenever we ask what guest you want to see on the podcast,
his name popped up so many times.
But we said, look, let's be patient. Let's grow our numbers a little bit before we bring Mr. Kalaba on. He's a very important person.
It's not like Ben Lombe, where you just call...
He comes on. You know what I mean? We had to kill a goat, sacrifice a goat, and do so many things to convince this man here.
We had to go to the mountains.
Pray.
For 7 days.
Fasting.
And though this will air in a couple of weeks, coincidentally, these discussions happen around Easter. So something about that spirit made this come together.
And then the Pope dies on an Easter weekend.
But that's good manners. Because, listen, he couldn't die on Sunday where Jesus...
died as well. Rose, yeah.
So he had to wait until... That's good manners. See, unlike your dad. See, his dad died at breakfast.
Oh, my dad died while having breakfast, yeah.
Can you imagine when a black woman cooks breakfast? Do you remember like when you were a child and you don't finish your food? How offended your mother would be?
And I need to ask her how offended she was that morning.
Like you couldn't wait until you're done with your breakfast to die?
During breakfast, imagine that. Mr. Kalaba, welcome to TZP podcast.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I know that was a dark joke. We apologize.
We do this all the time.
We do this all the time.
Yeah. He does it all the time. He does it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Has anybody ever asked you about the scar on your forehead? How did you get that?
That's a very good question that many people really overlook, eh?
I think they're scared. You look scary with that.
Is it, eh?
Yeah.
Like, does anybody ever call you Scarface? Is it like...
Sometimes when people don't like what I say, they will say Scarface.
Oh, serious? I'm not the first.
Oh, wait, so they've actually said that?
Of course. I mean, several times when they have not liked what the position I've taken.
Especially in Parliament, right?
I've always gotten, no, in Parliament, never.
Okay, all right.
Just on social media.
All right.
Facebook, I get a lot of that. Oh, I know you're a Scarface, what?
Was that an accident? What happened?
I had a very bad accident in 2005.
Okay.
I hit in a train.
10 years ago.
A train?
Yeah.
Were you the one driving?
I was the one driving.
Wait, explain what happened?
I hit in a train. I mean, along no garden area there's a rail crossing there. So what happened?
We're close to garden right now, right?
Yes.
We're shooting from... Just plug where we are, dude. Quickly.
We are at Golden Peacock Hotel on Kasangula Road. It's Kasangula Road, yeah? Yeah, on Kasangula Road. And anything else that people need to know? It's a good hotel, Chinese owned. A lot of Chinese writing around the building, a lot of Chinese culture. I think if you want to embrace Chinese culture, it's one of the places that you could visit,
cool.
yeah.
So, you were driving along garden?
Yeah, garden. There's a rail crossing there.
Yeah.
So the train didn't have lights. And coincidentally, my vehicle too.
Your vehicle didn't have lights too?
Coincidentally. Can you imagine?
What time of day was this?
That was around 19 hours. I was dropping some people that had come to visit. And oh my goodness, I saw the train just 3 meters away from me and the car was fast. I just went and hit into it.
So on which side did the train hit? The driver's side?
No, on the driver's side. The vehicle hooked on the train. And the train
and
carried us
dragged
some
you.
time, yeah, and then somehow by God's grace it unhooked. And when it unhooked, the vehicle then just went on rolling like that, rolling. That's the last time I could remember. The I was in hospital from there for 6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
Was it like a concussion?
I was in coma for 2 weeks.
Nima could not have covered that.
I was in coma for 2 weeks. So I always tell people that I'm living on borrowed time.
It's God's grace.
Even to walk like this, don't have a spinal cord problem and everything, and be able to now even begin aspiring for president of a country. It can only be God.
Can only be God.
Can only be God.
Did you after that feel maybe there was a higher purpose that you were put on this earth for?
Of course. And that's why I told myself that from now onwards, my life belongs to Him. Give my life to Christ. From that point, I realized that life can just evaporate just like that.
Did you sue?
No, I didn't.
The train didn't have lights on. But don't tell people that your car didn't have lights on. That stays between you and I. But the train didn't have lights on. Yeah, it's between you. But you could have sued.
No, I didn't sue.
Can I sue on your behalf?
Please go ahead and then sue.
Because those Eurobonds...
Third party suing. Third party suing.
Because those Eurobonds... Because listen, I'm traumatized listening to this. I need therapy. Right? So if he's not going to sue, I'm going to do that.
Wow.
Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
Do we have a lawsuit? There's no statute of limitations on this, dude.
When was this?
2005. That's 10 years ago.
20?
20 years ago.
What's your math, bro? 20.
It's a long time ago.
It doesn't matter.
A whole kid has been born and probably graduating now.
He's now giving us nonsense on social media right now.
Yeah, probably one of the people calling Scarface right now on social media.
Yeah.
So how many other people did you have in the car?
There were 3.
Did they get as badly hurt?
No, I was the most badly hurt.
Man,
I was the most badly.
Were they your in-laws by any chance?
No, those were my uncles.
Oh, okay. Because then if they were your in-laws, they'll be like, I don't know, he was trying to kill us. We knew that he did not.
So did you like crack your skull? Or was it?
Actually, what happened was I had a very deep cut here. Very deep cut. And my whole face was swollen, you know. You could not recognize me. So when after 6 weeks in hospital, they suggested that I be evacuated. I was evacuated even.
Where to?
I was in Toulouse in France.
France.
I was in France.
Oui.
Yes. Maintenant, je parle langue la français un peu.
Okay, no, oui is as far as I go.
Oh, is it?
Est-ce que vous parlez français? No? Yeah?
Vous parlez français?
Yeah.
Vous parlez?
No, please keep going with him.
Let's keep it at
Je
that.
parle un peu.
Yeah. Oui.
He says we. Wow. Wait, so the coma that you got into, was this a medically induced coma to minimize the brain activity?
It could be, but all I know is that I was in a coma for 2 weeks. I basically was gone.
Could you hear anything?
Yes. I mean, it's like you're dreaming, you know. It's a very peaceful place to be. You don't realize that you're in coma, and you open your eyes. It's like something just happened
yesterday.
Ago.
Yeah,
you know. And
can you imagine all the Yo Maps music you missed out on? I envy you.
What?
You didn't get the sarcasm.
No, I didn't get it.
No, 2005 there was no Yo Maps.
Can we go back there?
To 2005?
Yeah. Wow, but that's incredible.
Yeah, it was for me it was a life-changing time, you know? Life-changing time. 2005. And I realized that life can just finish just like that.
You were in...
But here I am.
Wait, you were in government then, 2005?
Yes, I was a civil servant.
Oh, what were you doing exactly?
I was an administrative officer in the Ministry of Lands.
So what is an administrative officer?
You are the one in charge of all the administration of a ministry.
Right. That sounds like a lot of work.
Of course.
You said which ministry?
Ministry of Lands.
Of Lands.
I later became minister.
Of the same ministry?
Yes.
Look at God.
Talk about rising through the ranks, yeah?
At what point? After the accident?
No. Yes, I became minister after the accident, of course. In 2005. I only became minister in 2012.
Yeah, but that was his question because you made it sound like as if it was immediate. Yeah. You know what I mean? So 2012, you then became minister in the PF regime.
Yes, in 2012. But the accident happened in 2005. When I was still an administrative officer in the Ministry of Lands.
In the MMD government?
In the MMD government.
When did you switch again? To PF?
When did I switch? So what happened was that I resigned as a civil servant in 2007, and then I went in mainstream politics to join the PF.
In 2007,
yeah.
You lost all faith and hope in the MMD government.
Well, I didn't think that they were doing enough.
What does that mean?
I didn't think that Zambians were receiving sufficient social amenities as I should have been receiving. Mm-hmm. So I realized that maybe I could offer myself more. But also I realized the civil service was a bit closed. You couldn't make decisions as a civil servant. You only had to make suggestions. The ones who were making the decisions were the politicians. And I said, I would rather join these guys who are making the decisions. So I said, bye-bye civil service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going. The hard stuff.
So you joined the PF 2007. You lose the election 2008. But you still have faith that one day the PF will go through. And 2011 it happened. And you become Minister of Lands.
Not just
not immediately, of course, yeah.
I was a backbencher for a year. Then I was made deputy minister in the office of the vice president, working with Guy Scott.
Oh, right.
I took over from Edgar Lungu and was made minister of home affairs. Then I took over his portfolio. And then a year later again, I was elevated as minister of lands.
Tell me about that was 2014, right? When you were made minister of home affairs.
Minister of lands.
Oh, home affairs, home affairs.
Foreign affairs.
Foreign affairs, yeah, foreign affairs.
Foreign affairs in 2013.
Or was it 13?
2014, sorry, 2014 in March.
How is that? So I sort of want to get into the mindset of. This is a question that for other ministers that we've had on the podcast, I've always forgotten to ask. When you get a minister of ICT, or say a minister of defense. And this stems from what I'm seeing what's happening in America, where Trump took a Fox News anchor or journalist to become for what we know as the Minister of
Defense.
They call that a secretary. But are you supposed to have knowledge in the ministry that you serve, or is it a one-size-fits-all that today you can be Minister of Foreign Affairs, tomorrow you can be Minister of Justice, the year after that of ICT?
I think.
What's your thinking around that?
My thinking is that normally you make it easy to have somebody who has an idea about a particular ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to believe that is the sole reason why President Sata took me to Minister of Lands. Because remember, I was a civil servant in lands for about 3-4 years I was there.
Right.
So when he appointed me as Minister of Lands, I was going back home. Understood the difficulties the ministry was going through when I was a civil servant.
Mm-hmm.
I also understood the advantages the ministry had and the issues of decision making which could not happen as a result of not having enough authority. And so when I became minister, I knew exactly where to start from. And I found some of my colleagues who I was working with as a civil servant.
When you were the admin?
Yeah, some I found them.
Were they still in the same position?
Yes, I found them in the same position. Some are even promoted when I became minister. But I told them that I'm leaving, and some of you will find you, and it will take me to come back to come and
promote you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, how then? Where do you feel you made the most impact? Was it when you were Minister of Lands or in Foreign Affairs?
I'll tell you something. When I was appointed Foreign Minister, I did not expect it.
You never spurred it?
I never spurred it.
Nah. I never even dreamt that I was going to be Foreign Minister. Because, first of all, I was not the most senior in the party. I was not even a member of the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front. I was not as close to Mr. Sata as others were close to Mr. Sata. But what happened was that in January of 2014, there's always what they call, there's an event where the president meets the diplomats accredited to Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
So I was shocked that particular January 2014, Mr. Sata invited me to attend that meet the diplomat meeting at State House. So I was like, this event, how does it? In any case, I went to State House. And when we sat there, Mr. Sata introduces the then British High Commissioner to Zambia, introduces him to me and says, this is the foreign minister. So I was like, And Uba Simusa was there. Uba was the foreign minister.
Was the current foreign minister?
Was the current foreign minister. And Uba was...
Whoa.
When Mr. Sata was saying, this is the foreign minister.
Did you think he misspoke?
Clearly, I was sure that he misspoke.
He had a Scooby-Doo moment.
I was like... I even told Wilbur when we went out for tea, I said, Wilbur, did you hear that? He said, yeah, I heard. I think the old man mixed up...
Right.
Oh, no.
No, he didn't. He didn't. So I think when he invited me for that meeting, he was preparing me for a position I never imagined I would take over. I was in Livingston officiating at the Youth Day in March, on the 12th. And I left Livingston around 18 hours for Lusaka. So I arrived late in Lusaka. So I was, the following day was 13th. I was supposed to go to the office and I received a call from the president.
Himself?
The president himself. He had this habit. If you've got something that you have done not right,
he calls you himself.
He calls you himself. And so when I received a call from State House, the secretary Betha tells me, a minister, please hold on for the president. I said, Jesus Christ.
Where were you at that time? Were you in the car?
No, I was in bed.
Oh,
I was in bed. I was tired. I just come from Livingston.
All the sleep goes away at that point,
my
right?
Goodness.
I mean, the big man is calling.
The president is calling.
Of the Republic.
That was about 7:42. I remember exactly. 7:42, he calls me. And then he asks me, where are you?
I hope you did not say in bed.
I told him I'm home. He said, this time you are home? Anyway, that's why I've removed you as a minister. And he hung up.
Wait, what time was this?
7:42.
In the morning.
In the morning.
He says, that's why I've removed you as minister?
That's why I removed you as minister.
And that was it?
And that was it. And they cut and hung up on me.
The diarrhea then?
My goodness. That's when I developed BP. So my wife had already left. My wife is a teacher. She'd already left for work. So I got the phone and called her and says, Irene, I've just received a call from the president. He tells me that he has removed me as minister. And I see that my driver has come to pick me and he has put the flag on the vehicle. What do? I was asking her. So she tells me, he has not announced it.
Sorry, let me just pause there. There's a story that I heard. Not the previous government, but previous governments. And this could be a rumor. I don't know if it is true or not. That apparently, tell me if it is true or not, the driver knows before the minister if you've been fired or not.
Nah.
That is not true.
Nah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
That can be true. That can be true.
I heard a story of some minister who was at a hotel, went there for a meeting, and his job was terminated. The PA, the secretary, and everything, and everybody else, and the driver were all told, and the driver was then called and told that leave. The dude came out and the car was gone.
No, I think that is crude. I mean, why would you do that? Normally, when you are being dropped, Mr. Sata, they would call you and tell you, like he called me himself. But people have got different styles.
Yeah.
President Lungu would write to you.
First,
yeah.
Okay.
You would receive a letter and telling him that he's getting rid of you.
Would you read it in his voice?
Of course.
Of course.
Okay, so you called Irene and you said, I'm looking at the driver, the flag is up.
Yeah, so what do I do? Do I tell him to drop the flag or so? She tells me, no. You are still minister until it's announced to the public. So go. So I quickly got ready and jumped in the vehicle. And the flag was there. Hammering. And
you knew this is borrowed time.
And I said, this is it's a question of minutes.
Yeah, let me just enjoy this.
Yeah. The last few minutes of...
No, what happens? I arrive at the office at Mulungushi House there. I'm entering my office and the guy from State House is coming with a letter from the president. Normally when a letter is saved on you, the secretary will enter it in the book and then she'll bring it to you after she opens it. So for me, I find the messenger from State House delivering it to my secretary, Vanamlenga. And Vanamlenga wants to begin writing it.
You're like, no, give it to me.
I said, I'll give it to me. No, no, Mr. President, a minister will bring it. I said, please.
Give it.
Give it. Just take down the details. Let me go and read. So I get this letter, close the door behind me, put it on the table, and I say my prayers. I say my prayers. I said, Lord, what has come, let it come. Let it find me. It's fine. I open the letter. And I read. It's a congratulatory letter from the president. He has elevated me as Foreign Affairs Minister.
Oh, wow.
I could not believe my eyes. Congratulations, I've elevated you to the ministry, because ministries are not the same.
Right.
No.
Which do you think are the top 4?
In my time.
In your time and now?
In my time, it was the president, the vice president,
defense,
the defense,
of course,
and the foreign minister. So I was about the 4th most strongest person in government.
And
but
now what
practice,
do you think it is? Yeah.
In practice, it's always the foreign minister. He's supposed to be number 3.
Not
number
defense.
3, not defense.
No.
Serious?
Because you see, a foreign affairs minister
represents your country to the rest of the world.
To the rest of the world.
Your foreign policies, everything, yeah.
In fact,
during our time, even
he can even start wars that defense now has to
begin fighting.
Defend.
Because there are only 2 people who can commit a country.
The president.
It's the president and the foreign affairs minister.
Well, and ambassadors, maybe.
No, ambassadors can't. Ambassadors do it on behalf of the foreign minister. That's they represent the foreign minister in all those missions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Ambassadors are not independent of the foreign minister. Those were my right-hand men, if you want, or women, working for the foreign minister.
But the president appoints ambassadors.
He is the Igwe.
The Odogu.
Yeah, the Odogu.
So do you get a salary increment? What happens?
No. You get the same, but look, like the conditions really differ. For a foreign minister, he's the only one that is given a Mercedes Benz. I mean, a minister will be given the ordinary vehicles, a GX like everybody has.
Oh, serious?
But the foreign minister will have, of course, you will have a Mercedes Benz because of the title that you have.
Okay.
When you go out of a country, you are the only person that is picked at the foot of the plane, together with the president. Not even the vice president. But the foreign minister will be picked at the foot of the plane. You are always supposed to be put in the best hotel in town. Yes. So if there's a 7-star hotel, that's where you belong. The vice president, if she's with you, unless she's representing the president, but if not, they won't even be there. It has to be the foreign minister. So on most occasions,
that's a big deal.
You represent.
Our friend is enjoying,
Of course. Foreign minister is not something. Even a president will not give a position to a foreign minister, one that he doesn't trust. It's only given to a person that the president feels he can sleep, and this person cannot do decisions that will be contrary to what he wants.
And how long were you foreign affairs minister for?
For 4 years.
So, you received the letter.
Sometimes
you're an amazing storyteller, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
Didn't know that.
Yeah, you're an amazing storyteller. So you received the letter, and so what happens from there? Do you then begin to pick up your katundu, your desk, and what happens?
No, I received the letter, then now I immediately call Irene. And I tell her that...
the wife.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Call the wife.
Yeah, and then I tell her that, look, my dear.
You are now the wife of...
And now you are the wife of the chief diplomat of...
the country.
She tells me, drop it. I said, I'm telling you. I am the foreign affairs minister, so be careful how you...
How you talk.
Really different enough.
Yeah. All this to my boys that are smiling at you now.
You got to be careful. You're dealing with the chief diplomat of the country. Well, then it came, and then I moved to the foreign affairs ministry. And the rest is history.
Did you crack the whip on your first day?
At Foreign Affairs?
Yeah.
No, my style of doing things is different. Even when I was at Ministry of Lands, the first thing I did was to ask Barnaby Mulenga. He used to be Commissioner of Lands then. Remember, I was at Ministry of Lands, but I didn't understand the land law as it should be understood. So I asked him if he could take me through. So for 1 week, when I was Minister of Lands, every morning from 7:30 to 8:30, me and Barnaby would sit in my office and they would take me through the land law of the country. So I would understand why we are having the land system like the one we have currently. It would take me through what happened in 1995 with the Biano Chela second number what of 1985. So I would understand all those issues. So that when I go to the public, I'm speaking with a lot of knowledge and not just yapping.
Right. It's not just opinions.
No. Even in foreign affairs, I did the same. I asked for Ambassador Kapambwe, Lazarus. He was then at the African Union. So I asked PS if he could arrange that he could bring him to Lusaka, and he brought him to Lusaka. And again, it took me for 1 week on foreign policy. I wanted to understand Zambia's position on SADC, the African Union, the different multilateral bodies to which we belong, why certain decisions are taken. And then I asked him, what should be my first point of call in SADC? What country should I go to as foreign affairs minister? Because when you're foreign minister, you receive all kind of invitations now.
Yeah.
Because they know there's a new guy.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to get acquainted with you. They want to befriend you and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I received a lot of invitations. And I asked Lazarus Kapambwe, Ambassador Kapambwe, I said, if you are in my position, which country would you go to? He tells me you have to go to Angola. I said, why? Then he tells me, well, Angola, first of all, is a country that doesn't allow Zambians to go without a visa. So you need to go and make that argument with them that they are part of SADC and that Zambia has played a very pivotal role in the liberation struggle of the Angolans when they got their independence in 1975. So you have to go there and tell them that they have to give a visa waiver to Zambians. And I did that.
And did they?
And today, Zambians can go in Angola without getting a visa.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
It could be the scar that they were afraid of.
In Angola?
Yeah.
Nah.
You don't think?
Oh, you should have put the same one between Zambia and America as well.
Yeah, now you're gone too far.
I'm asking for too much, right?
Bit by bit, but maybe when I become president.
Right.
Right, now we're getting there.
Yeah, we'll reach there.
We're getting there.
So,
No, I mean we're getting the question, not we're getting to you becoming president.
but it will happen. It will happen.
There's a couple of questions that I need to kind of like ask. But yeah, as we go. So what do you think your most memorable...
Wait. Don't forget that question, Nelson. He was Minister of Foreign Affairs, but you resigned that office citing corruption in the PF government.
Yeah.
What is it that you saw particularly that made you resign?
Look, as I told you, the accident of 2005 changed a lot of things about my life. And I don't do things for pretense. I have outgrown that.
Okay.
And I don't know when I will die. I know how long I have lived, but I don't know when I'll go back to my creator. I nearly went back to him in 2005, and in his own infinite wisdom, he allowed me to stay for another more years on this earth. So I've just told myself that I'll not do anything that is hypocritical. I'll make decisions that are authentic and that are in the interest of the Almighty God. I mean, according to my judgment. So, when I came across evidence that the PF was not on the path it should have been on, as we started with Mr. Sata, I resigned.
What evidence was that?
Look, when I saw some of my colleagues begin tendering for businesses and begin to compete with ordinary Zambians on the streets for the same contracts, when Zambians have already given you an opportunity to be minister, I thought that was greatness. It can't be like that. When I saw that our focus, if you read my letter, was supposed to have been service to the people instead of servicing ourselves, I realized that was not correct. Because I'm speaking this from a background of the fact that when I was minister myself, I questioned even a lot of things when I was appointed. You know, ministers don't get loans from these banks. Minister of Finance provides loans of, I think during our time, of up to 500,000 interest-free loans. And I said, why should a minister who has all these allowances also be given interest-free loans? I refused to get those interest-free loans. I went to Indo-Zambia Bank myself and got a loan when I wanted a loan. I also didn't agree that I should stay in my own house because I refused to move in a government house.
Right.
I continued living in my small house in Linda, the one that I have always lived in, even when I was a civil servant. And then the permanent secretary tells me we're supposed to be paying you money for staying in your house. I said, no, I don't have to be paid for staying in my own house. Why should you pay me for staying in my own house? That's my property. He said, no, those are the conditions of service. I declined. All these things I was doing was not to get attached to the position. The only thing that I couldn't refuse was to be driven in that Mercedes-Benz.
And the state security.
And the state security, yeah. State security was provided.
Okay.
So when I became foreign minister, they said that because now I'll be doing a lot of consultation with the president, and the diplomats wanted to move out of my house and go in a government house near State House, I still said, no, I'll be making it. Don't worry. I'll be making it. You've given me enough vehicles here. So I'll try hard to make it. And I made it. Never one day was I left.
So back to Kalanga's question, the reason why you decided to leave is citing corruption. Do you feel it is easier to fight a system from the outside or from within?
It depends. It depends.
On what?
It depends on how it is being projected to you. For me at the time, I didn't have the authority. I didn't have the powers to fight, especially when everybody's not agreeing with you. It becomes difficult. But when you are convinced that this is something that should be done differently, the best you can do in order to equalize with them is to say, I'll not be part of this collective responsibility.
So do you think getting out and then fighting that corruption from outside, they would listen to you more than if you are a peer and you sit down on the table with them and say, guys, what you're doing is wrong?
Sometimes if you want people to appreciate your absence, your presence, is to be absent. And I think in that instance, yes.
Then do you think it worked?
It did work because my voice was now louder. I no longer was confined to the arrangement of just agreeing. I was able to say this is not correct. This is the way it should be.
So was corruption any less then at that point from that government?
Was corruption what?
Any less? Did it die?
Well, it doesn't matter whether it died or it didn't die.
No, it does because that's the reason why. That's the reason why you resigned, right?
But I made my statement, right?
But you could have done that from within.
Yeah, but from within I tried and I was not being listened to. So I said, I don't want to be part of everything going on. I would rather be judged correctly. When you guys will be writing the history of our country, you must find me on the right side of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, let me be found on the right side of the argument. And here I am.
How did Lungu take a resignation? What was the conversation like between you and him afterwards?
Well, it was...
Call him President
Edgar Chagwa Lungu.
Can you call him President Lungu?
President Lungu.
President Lungu did not appreciate the fact that I resigned. Because remember, I think I was one of his dependable ministers.
I mean, you were Foreign Affairs Minister. That's a very high position, yeah.
So I told him in New York that I wanted to resign during the General Assembly. And he declined. Again, when we were together in Ghana, I did mention to him in Accra that, Your Excellency, there are these issues for me that have not been answered. Would you spare me? Would you just get rid of me or drop me and appoint somebody else?
Why were you just telling him outside the country? Why didn't you just take him to granddaddy's and sit him down and say, hey, honor?
You know what? The privilege of a foreign minister sometimes is that...
You've got one time with him outside the country?
I think amongst the ministers.
Yeah.
That's why he's called first among equals. Foreign minister is referred to as first among equals because you are the only one who has got time. You know, you are flying with the head of state from Jeddah to Lusaka. The two of you are in the aircraft.
What are you talking about?
There you go. So you talk about a whole wide range of things, and
you gossip about other people,
and you pick the mind of the head of state as you keep flying with him. You know, you are picking his mind. He asks you this, you tell him this. I say, okay, I feel tired. Let me doze it off. He dozes off. Wakes up. You're still together with him. So you get to have a chance. I was one of those that couldn't make an appointment from my office and say, I want to come and see the president at State House. I didn't have to. I'll just tell them, well, I've got this. He's coming to Addis Ababa. He'll find me there. So I'll have a chat with him in Addis Ababa. Let me leave other local ministers here to make appointments with him. For me, we'll meet in the States or meet in London or meet. So most of the meetings I used to have with the president myself was either on the aircraft or outside the country because that's when we would have enough time.
So when you told him that you want to resign, I'm sure you told him the reason.
I did tell him.
And what did he say to that?
No, he said, no, let's do it together. I mean, don't leave.
Do what together? Resign together?
No. I think let's see how it goes. I think I'll deal with it. Leave it to me. And I left it at that.
Then did he?
I mean, I resigned, meaning that I didn't see that it was done, so I resigned.
Maybe it was in the process.
Maybe it was, but it was not done when I wanted it to be done. So I said, maybe let me not put pressure on the head of state. He's got so many things that informs him. You know, a head of state has got so many things that informs him.
Yeah.
So maybe I was not privy to what was informing the head of state.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to respect that. And I did that.
So did he call you after he received your letter?
I received a call from Minister Kampyongo and Amos Chanda. Minister Kampyongo wanted to come and see me and say, no, can you immediately rescind the decision? And Amos Chanda too. The president wants to see you. Please come here and see the president. And I said, no, I've moved on.
That was a very strong position, eh?
Yeah.
Well, weren't you scared to become targeted then at that point?
It doesn't matter. I think when you make a decision that you are fully convinced is the right decision, the ramifications are part of it. It comes with the territory. I was investigated heavily after I resigned. The DEC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, everybody was on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay. And I expected it. But they just helped to clean me.
But Mr. Kalaba,
you joined the DP after.
Wait. Just in addition to what he just said, you left. You were investigated by all these investigative wings, and you knew about the corruption that was happening, and that's why you resigned. Why didn't you mention names to help curb and kill that corruption which was in the government then?
You must be clever. You must be intelligent when doing.
I mean, you saw something, say something.
Yes, but I said it. That I don't.
No, but why didn't you point? Why didn't you point fingers at the people who were?
You don't do that because then you're opening up so many battlefronts for yourselves. You must be intelligent to choose your fights in life. In life, you don't just fight anyhow. You'll be hurt. You'll be bruised. You have to choose your fights, one fight at a time. And when you win one fight, then you can pick another fight. Win another fight, you pick another fight. You don't just say, no, I've resigned because there's this minister who's doing that minister is doing that minister is doing that. Nah.
I really feel it would have been a very bold statement from you, especially the kind of rank that you held.
Yeah, but, you don't want also to... The system already has put the watchdog institutions on you already. They're now investigating you. The one who is crying foul, now you're the one they're even investigating.
No, my point
is that,
when you spotted this corruption that was happening in the government while you were in government, why didn't you call out names when you had the power before you were even being investigated?
I'll tell you that colleagues will tell you how frank I am. Eh?
Yeah.
Colleagues, personally.
Wait, which one's colleagues then?
I mean, colleagues.
Oh, colleagues. Okay.
Colleagues.
Yeah.
There are colleagues that I went and told you, this is what you are doing. Why should you be bidding for the contracts at ZESCO? Why should you be doing this? Why should you be doing that? Why should you be doing that? I did that on a one-to-one basis, and I didn't think it was in my powers to begin again mentioning to the public because they would say, bring evidence. It's defamation. So you realize, hey, let me be careful. Otherwise, you have to choose your fights. You'll be bruised.
Okay. Yeah. So this is when you then formed the Democratic Party right after that?
Yes, I left and formed the Democratic Party, a party which I was eventually asked to leave.
You form it and you're asked to leave.
C'est la vie, the French would say. Well, that's life. Very interesting events.
Asked to leave, why? Because you will not condone corruption in the party? Why were you asked to leave?
No, in there it's because, the UPND came in. It's a long story. The UPND came in. The same things that have happened to the...
Oh, the alliance came in.
No.
Was it?
The UPND had already just won elections. The PF was the second that came second. And the DP was the third. Harry Kabala's party was the third.
Yes.
Out of 16 contenders. So it was clear from the perspective of the ruling party that this party was
a threat.
They had to deal with it. And they managed to deal with it. And so when I saw that the battle again was big for me, they say some battles are better won by losing. Some battles are better won by losing.
Make that make sense.
Some fights, you win them by losing.
How?
And for me, I won that fight. Imagine if I'd continued fighting with that court protracted process. Up to now, we've been caught with the DP issues. But I said, colleagues, you want this party so much, right? Too badly, right? Here it is. Get it. I didn't start it. You started it. So get it. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
Today it's dead. Then we have a party called the Citizens First, spreading like wildfire. That is the party I am president.
Okay.
That is the party coming into government next year.
So tell me about the time, because you were a presidential candidate under DP, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about, because we spoke to Binu Mpundu. This requires quite a lot of money.
Not small money.
Sorry?
Not small money.
Especially when you're running for president.
Yeah.
Never mind when you're running for MP. When you're running for president, it requires a lot of money.
Too much.
Who do you go to?
Are your friends?
I asked this guy for 300 kwacha yesterday.
Yeah, and I'll give it to you at lunch when we're done with this.
Instead of giving me excuses,
it was a holiday.
Shut up. Who do you go to?
You go to your friends who believe in what you're doing.
So you've got rich friends on speed dial.
I mean, I was foreign minister for 4 years.
So did you make those friends while you were foreign minister?
I've got a lot of colleagues outside Zambia. I've got a lot of colleagues within Zambia. I've got a lot of colleagues. They know my character. They know my caliber. And so, like the helicopter that I was using, it was a friend of mine.
Zambian?
No, a South African friend of mine who hired it from us.
Do we know this person?
I mean, you don't have to know the person, but it's a friend.
Does his name start with a P?
Yeah. Maybe L.
L? Okay.
South African guy?
They a friend of mine.
No, I'm saying it's a South African. Is the guy
Don't mind
South
South African guy or what?
Okay.
That's the name we want.
Yeah. So, but it requires a lot of resources.
So how much did you raise?
In that election, I think over 8 million kwacha.
But is that enough for a national campaign,
that
though?
doesn't sound like a lot.
No.
Doesn't sound
Sounds like a drop in the ocean compared to what you really need for a campaign.
It's nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that.
I mean, you asked me how much I raised, and you didn't ask me how much I spent.
Oh, how much do you spend?
So those are two questions. Huh?
Yes, yeah, we're getting it.
How much you spend and how much you raise.
So how much did you spend?
I don't know how much. I mean, I can't really put a finger to it.
But it was
But
way
if
more
you-
than 8 million.
If you're to
Way
guess,
more than 8 million.
what?
Because look,
20 million?
just the helicopter itself, it was costing 50,000 kwacha per hour, to fly.
So did you spend over 20 mil?
Of course.
Over 20 mil.
About 20.
So where did you get the difference?
Again, it's from
Friends.
within here.
Also, and he's got
A
friends.
lot of friends and
But
my
then
own
if you
small
raised 8 million
Yeah.
and you spent over 20 million, it means you raised more. I'm trying to understand.
Where
So
the difference at 12 came from.
yes, you said you
It wasn't
only
raised, it
8.
just magically showed up.
yeah.
just magically showed up. Yeah,
Ah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because you're a magician like that.
you know what?
All right, cool.
I'm good at that.
That's dope.
All right.
But on a serious note, you see, it takes a lot of money to run for office.
Yeah, it does.
And even having a 20 million kwacha like I did myself during that time,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing compared to the needs.
And how does it feel when you then lose?
It's painful. It's awful.
All right.
Don't come to me after I've lost elections. Was even when they were counting now, and I saw I kept coming out third. I told my son, "Can you switch off that TV?" Watch CNN. The uncle didn't want to switch off the TV.
He was hopeful. You had more faith in you than you did in yourself.
I knew because the areas I thought I would win, I was losing.
In your own village, right?
Even in my own village, I couldn't win. But I did well. I tried. There were 2 places in my area, Bahat,
Yeah.
where I beat both President Chish and President Lungu.
Right.
So I felt good. At least
But after that election, are you feeling now that you've actually covered all the bases that you need to win this election coming next year?
we've learned our lessons.
The biggest one of which is,
That you have to start early.
so have you started though?
Of course.
That's why it's on the podcast.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You need to pay for this episode.
Yes, you do.
You know?
I mean, you had 20 million.
That's
Yeah, 20 million.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, so you need to just sponsor us.
So,
We have over 30,000 witnesses watching this, guys. If you do not see us bowling at the mall
30,000?
tomorrow.
88,000.
Oh, sorry. I meant 84,000 subscribers on this channel.
wow.
If you do not see us with trolleys,
The other 53,000.
exactly. If you do not see us with trolleys tomorrow at the mall, it means we're not paid by this man.
Yeah. I'm not here to pay for trolleys. There's, and this guy has got so many
Just joking.
challenges.
Just
I
joking.
know.
Just joking. So after the election, yes, that happened. You lost. You're feeling you've covered all the bases right now. Rumor has it that Bushiri actually prophesied to you in person that you are definitely the next president of the Republic of Zambia. How true is this?
I've heard that crap before,
That crap.
I've heard that crap before. People saying, no, Kalaba was lied to by Bushiri. In politics, they'll throw all kinds of things at you. So when somebody conjugates a lie and they throw it at you, you just start fighting with it. And so I heard about it, that, oh, no, Bushiri told him this. That's a lie. Where?
Wait, what's the lie?
Where were there?
Is it a lie that Bushiri said it, or is it a lie
that you met Bushiri?
I've met Bushiri.
And he prophesied that you're going to be president of Zambia.
He's never done that.
Ah, okay.
No, he's never done that. Somebody just came up with that lie.
But then again,
Suited
Bushiri is the same person who could not prophesy his own arrest.
You didn't see it coming?
No.
I don't know about that. I mean, that doesn't make him fake or real. I mean,
I never said anything about him fake or real. I just said he didn't see his arrest coming. He ended up escaping a country.
God doesn't
through Zimbabwe.
Is it?
He ran away from South Africa
through Zimbabwe.
Yes,
I never knew that.
Well, now you do.
Oh, okay. Tell me more. How was the escape plan?
He was meant to go to. I think he was arrested, went to court, and while he was on bail, he didn't show up for the next court hearing.
He went through Zimbabwe,
and then he went into Malawi,
and it's still there.
And it's still there. And I hear that a judge has approved his extradition back to South Africa.
A Malawian judge.
A Malawian judge, yes.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Oh. I heard this a month ago.
Have it followed?
I saw him preaching yesterday.
Well, it's not. Do you think he'll be extradited the next day?
Well, if the judge approved it, why wait?
Why wait?
Yeah.
Now, again, that's why you have to be careful.
With what?
What you hear?
Well, it was in the news.
What is factual?
It was in the news. And I saw,
there was something in the news that was prophesied to, right? It was in the news, right? You read it somewhere on social media.
Yeah, I think it was a social media article, yeah.
So even that, I'm sure it was social media.
Okay, no, it wasn't social media. But regardless of Bushiri prophecies or whatever rumors came out, do you really feel you're strong enough to stand against President Hakainde Hichilema right now?
There's nothing extraordinary about Mr. Hakainde.
Well, he won by a large margin in 2021.
The same way he won by a large margin, just like others have won before him. Edgar Lungu won in 2011. In 2014. 2015 January.
Yes.
Edgar Lungu won by over 100,000 votes in 2016, and Edgar Lungu lost by about 1.8 million 4 years later.
Yeah.
So there is nothing extraordinary about a human being born of a woman. He is a human being just like myself, and the Zambian people have given him an opportunity. I believe they also give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
All I have to do is to present my case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're actually appealing the ruling by the judge to extradite them back to South Africa.
Okay.
So this is like in the Malawian courts. The one thing, just more to what Kalenga was saying, the one thing that myself personally, I have picked up about the people in opposition is not what they are going to do, is precisely what the sitting president is not doing right.
And we get that all the time.
Nah. Colleagues, pay attention to some of us. The problem is that are found in our country is that we think everybody is just like everybody.
Well, every politician is sort of exhibiting the same traits of just shooting down what HH is not doing, HH is not doing. And on this podcast, we always talk about that being like a guy who goes to a girl and just tells her what the boyfriend is not doing. Tell me, from a girl's perspective, tell me what you're going to do for me. Don't tell me what the other guy is not doing for me.
You're making a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you're taking me like everybody else will be talking to.
Okay, tell us what you're going to do for us.
Harry Kabala.
Let's start from there.
Yes.
What makes you different?
I'm very different because I have got a very clear vision of what has to be done for the country.
Okay.
And where we need to be. So those of the people out there who keep thinking the current president is extraordinary, he's what? I have been in government from the civil service perspective for 10 years.
Okay.
I understand the civil service. I might be younger to the current president by almost 20 years, but he is a way lot younger when it comes to governance experience compared to myself, because I have been a civil servant for almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have been a backbencher in that parliament. I have been a deputy minister. I have been a minister for 8 years. I understand how government runs. And I was privileged to be in a very sensitive ministry. Either way, I'm one of the longest serving, if not the longest, serving minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's a very sensitive ministry. And I was able to be there and broken service for 4 straight years because I was trustworthy. Now, when somebody says you're always talking about this other person, I always say, look, 61 years after independence, my brother, Zambia is still experiencing an excruciating load shedding never experienced before. We were supposed to have been in a studio doing this podcast. You have brought me to this luxurious hotel.
Yes.
Why?
There's no power at the
Because
studio.
there's no power at the studio.
Yeah.
Why should Zambia be exporting power to Malawi, export power to Namibia, export power to South Africa, export power to the DRC Congo when we don't have power ourselves? I have said, without mentioning anybody's name, I have said, when you choose me as president, when I lift the Bible, the 50 megawatts of power we are giving to Malawi will stop giving them immediately. Because first of all, we have to satisfy the local demand here at home. Charity begins at home.
But isn't the justification there being we are actually making more revenue from exporting power than we are giving it to locals?
ZESCO was not established to make more revenue at the expense of its people. ZESCO makes sense if it is, first of all, providing the much needed electricity to its people before it even thinks of making revenue. There are times when a company must understand that they're in a difficult season and they have to live for their people. That's why ZESCO is a quasi-government institution. It runs like an independent, but it is government-controlled because government has a huge interest in it. Therefore, there is no way, if I were president, I would not export power to any of those countries until we have power here. When I was foreign minister, I went to Russia with the late Siska, who was secretary to cabinet. I am the one who started the nuclear plant there along the airport road. That nuclear plant was supposed to be producing 20,000 megawatts of power for our country.
More than enough.
More than enough.
More than what this country needs.
Because this country at peak value only requires 2,400 megawatts at peak value.
So we are a surplus right now if your plan went through.
ZESCO is producing, even at their best times, they're producing only 3,400 megawatts. Combined with the CEC, they're producing 3,400 megawatts of power. But if you unleash that
nuclear power plant,
right, you're going to be producing 20,000 megawatts of power. And that idea was mooted as a result of the meeting we had at the African Union. You know, they want to create the Great Inga Dam in the DRC Congo to produce about 100,000 megawatts of power so they can start selling to other African countries. And I said to myself, look, Zambia has been considered to be a landlocked country. We are land-linked. Why can't we begin using our land-linked position to begin supplying power to other countries surrounding us? If with 20,000 megawatts, you are able to supply power.
There was surplus about 16,000.
Too much. And the Citizens First manifesto is talking about industrializing this country. All these youths you see roaming around the streets, they can find jobs and they are innovative, but they can't be given access to resources. It's because we don't have enough energy around here.
So
industrialization can only work with energy.
Yeah. So I was just basically looking at the regional comparison of electricity prices.
Yeah.
Zambia, it is so this is per kilowatt hour, 22 cents. South Africa, it is 12 cents. Zimbabwe, it is between 1 and 20 cents, and Botswana, it is 91 cents. So based off these tariffs, I'm basically trying to understand if you have got citizens.
And already said it's very high, right?
It is high. If you have a ZESCO producing electricity, and you have mines and you have other institutions who are not paying the bills that they're supposed to, how then would this company be able to still function? Because at the end of the day, it is still an entity that needs to be able to make a profit in order for it to produce electricity.
That is why.
And you do agree that there's so many institutions who owe ZESCO money.
I was going to talk about that. I was going to tell you that is why you can't allow a mining company like Konkola Copper Mines to owe the electricity company huge sums of money the way they are owed.
Who cannot allow?
The government shouldn't. ZESCO itself shouldn't.
But when you say they shouldn't allow, what measures are there?
Why are you giving them power when they can't pay for it? And yet, you at domestic level, you are required to prepay. Why are they getting power before they pay for it? Why can't they also do the same way as we're doing at domestic level? Honestly speaking, why should Mopan Because these are the ones who have given Zesco a lot of headaches. Why should Lumwana, Kansanshi Kalumbira mines be consuming power on credit when they're making money? And we let them get away with murder? Let me be president. You don't even have to sell power to Namibia for you to get the money, because the excuse they're giving is that we are selling power to Namibia in order to settle the loans that we have accrued and to also pay salaries back home here.
Okay, we'll come back to things that you do when you become president. I'd like to take you back to an issue that happened recently, I think early last year, especially after the famous YouTube documentary, The Gold Mafia Scandal. A few days later, you had that issue happening at at Right Price with the iPhone.
Oh, that was him.
Yes. The Zimbabwean journalist called you, promised you an iPhone. What was the real issue behind that?
Look, I think it's a good question. You know, this guy duped me.
Okay.
He told me that there is a friend of mine, a pastor in the UK, who had sent him something to give to me. He didn't even say it's an iPhone. He said, I have a parcel for you. And when I was going for a funeral in Chongwe, I even told him, no, sir, I'm not available. I'm going for a funeral. No, sir, please, I've traveled all the way from the UK and I'm asking for an opportunity even just to take a picture with you so that I can show pastor. It would be a great moment and that kind of stuff. So this guy I was with him, the guy tells me, because he was on loud when I was speaking to him.
Right.
He says, I know what, Harry. Let's go.
Just leave it.
I mean, let's go. You see the guy. That's how we went there. Only to find that I was trapped. But those are lessons you learn. Next time, I should have taken even the effort to call the same pastor I mentioned. I mean, what parcel have you sent for me? Because I'm aspiring for office of president. So people will bring up all kinds of things against me. I have to be careful. I've been very careful the whole of my life. But you can be too careful sometimes. There's always something that just slips through your fingers. And there you go, iPhone 16.
Yeah, but Chikanza cited, I think in the article that he wrote after that, and the confusion that ensued at Right Price at Livermore, Chikanza, the journalist from Zimbabwe, later wrote an article saying he did that to get more information from you about the gold scandals in Zimbabwe, which I think transactions happened when you were foreign minister.
Look, the guy's argument was that I was rubbishing the findings of Al Jazeera. And because he was one of those journalists that was part of the Al Jazeera documentary, and he was hurt because when I rubbished that, because of my being former Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Zimbabwean government used my arguments to televise in Zimbabwe. And he said, you are being used by Mnangagwa, because he was accusing me of siding with Mnangagwa and Prophet Yoberengel. And I said, I spoke that out of my own volition.
Right. Yeah.
I just said, what diplomats speak in front of a camera and what they speak outside the camera are two different things. And I said, in my life as a foreign minister, sometimes you have to throw even a cocktail to induce others to believe in your country. Sometimes you have to tell ZAF to airlift this investor to go around Solwezi, to go and see the beauty of this country and the potential of this country in order for them to invest. So there's so many things that you put at the disposal of people coming to your country. So you cannot hold somebody responsible just on what they saw on camera and you conclude. That was my argument. And he took offense because that watered down his great works according to him. So he had to humiliate me. And unfortunately in this country, somebody's trying to humiliate me. Somebody's trying to dupe your leader. And there was an issue on social media.
Oh, it was a big issue.
iPhone 16. So, I sit at home and I'm wondering, these guys, instead of sympathizing with me, I was almost duped by this guy.
I was actually in the shop there when it was happening.
Is it?
Yeah, I was there.
Were you there for an iPhone 16 too?
Sorry?
Were you there for an iPhone 16 as well?
No, I was producing an advert, but I was hopeful that maybe Mr. Kalaba would buy me one while he was there. But then the confusion just erupted and there was people running in the car park.
You know that at that time the iPhone 16 was not even out.
It was like a month away from coming out, right?
It didn't even exist then. That's what made the whole thing fun.
No, but it was.
Yeah, remember, yeah.
I think it was a month away because it was coming out in the UK.
Yeah.
But you see what? For me, I didn't even know. Like, it's just then that I knew now, eh? I never bothered about iPhone 16 or iPhone 14.
What do you use now?
Now I'm using iPhone 16 Plus.
Look at God.
Look at God. You should try the Techno Camon 40 as well. You might think twice about the iPhone 16. Yeah,
This one right there.
oh, it's brilliant.
So
just
now
have a feel of it, Elson.
So now, because from that end on,
yeah,
from that time on, now I am techie savvy. So now I know. I always ask my little daughter, when is iPhone 17 coming out?
It's normal around the same time, around August.
Yeah, so
just have a feel of this one as
I'll
well.
try and look at it.
This is the Techno Camon 40 from Techno. Really, really good phone.
A great phone, that.
It looks cool.
Feels good, yeah?
Yeah, it does.
Very light too, right?
Yeah, it does.
It's it's an incredible it's an incredible phone. One other thing I would want to show you, let me show you quickly. If you activate your camera, one of the things that
It makes love to your mind, I know.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And I keep going back to the same thing. Look at that.
You can both be in one video.
You see how it then activates both cameras, so you can see what you are aiming your camera at and yourself at the same time.
Wow. Yeah. Plus, it's got its own very AI-powered phone.
Are you guys selling or something?
DeepSeek.
It's got
They are
DeepSeek,
partners.
like ChatGPT, but better.
Or you want to play me again like iPhone 16?
Do you want one?
Make an issue out of it again.
You mentioned family.
No, one before you go there.
Yeah.
Back to Zesco.
All right. Okay.
I need to, because right now the infrastructure that Zesco has is aging, outdated, old. Do you have plans specifically to modernize it? One, and if you do, who pays for that?
Look, first of all, what will happen to Zesco is this. The energy space, as it is right now, has not been opened very much. We need to allow small players on the market to come on board, to begin making even 1 megawatt of power and selling to Zesco, 0.5 megawatts and so on and so forth, so that Zesco can be reactivated. But besides that, what ought to be done is to move away from this hydropower syndrome.
Why?
You can't be depending on rain-fed waters to run your turbines.
No, of course.
We are in a very difficult space. The experts have told us that the southern corridor no longer has enough rains to do your thing. So Kariba, forget about Kariba. Because we always cry Kariba from time immemorial. We have to begin creating, if at all we want to create hydropower stations in the northern circuit. In that way, you are assured of your rains that will be sufficient, because that's what experts have told us. But besides that, if you want to run away from the challenges that you have of power deficits, is to go the route I'm proposing for the country.
Which are?
Nuclear.
All right.
So it's being used in the industrialized nations.
Mm-hmm.
If Zambia is going to go industrial, you need sufficient power. Imagine, even if you condemn 10,000 megawatts of power on yourselves here, I mean, setting it up will be expensive, but we agreed with the Russian Federation that they were going to do it, and Zambia was going to be paying the loan softly, slowly, over a period of, is it 25 years or 30 years?
There was a huge backlash when I remember Zuma did try to partner with Russia on that nuclear issue. I don't know if you remember that.
Look, any country goes in the foreign space for their own interests. Forget about South Africa and Russia. Talk about Zambia and Russia. Why do we open embassies in certain countries and not in other countries? It's because we look at the advantages we'll extrapolate from our presence in those countries. So why am I talking about Russia? Remember, Zambia has been a great friend of Russia from 1965. We got our independence in 1964. 1965, Russia was a partner of Zambia. We used to have Aeroflot. In this country, we used to have Aeroflot, which was an aircraft coming from Moscow into Zambia, just to fly weekly, because of the strong bilateral ties we had with Russia.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, that relationship has evaporated. I think, in my view, we must maintain strong ties with countries like Moscow, because we're benefiting the huge nuclear plant there. We should also maintain relations with China, maintain relations with the USA and the UK, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It is the only way out.
Mm-hmm. Again, the reason why I brought up Zuma, and you were like, no, we need to focus on Zambia. You know what happened between Zuma and Russia is because that's the importance of learning about history, is to avoid stepping into the same mess that other countries have stepped into. Because now when you go that route, what do you do with the waste management?
The Russian has already had a very clear plan on that. It's a whole document, eh?
Of course, they're trying to sell it to you.
No, but listen.
So they won't tell you the downside to it.
No, listen, that's not the way diplomacy works, my brother. It doesn't work that way.
Politics does, though.
No, I'm talking about diplomacy. The Russians have given you so much, my friend, and they're not here to crook you.
The Russians are not here to crook you?
No. They are not there to crook you when they're doing that nuclear plant for you, because they already started making it.
Yeah.
They even started getting our students who are good at sciences to go and study nuclear science so they could come and run the same plant. It was all well laid out, but it has been thrown in the dustbin. But we are going to resuscitate it. Next year. When I become president.
In as much as, yes, it will create power, and like I said about the waste management, and I really haven't not looked at what the steps that the Russians have brought forward, but even the environmental health, because a lot of mining has to happen to get the raw materials to make this happen. Again, this is horrible to the environment. So at what cost, really?
I remember when I was lands minister, I don't know if you remember, there was a time the Kangaloo resources, I gave a go-ahead to Kangaloo resources to mine in the Lower Zambezi. I was Minister of Environment that time. There was Kafafa. There was a lot of halabalu. And people know you cannot be mining in a pristine area like this. You are destroying the environment. There are always safeguard measures taken. People will not be careless to destroy the environment. But people should be progressive. They should be ambitious enough to beat the challenges that they're having while maintaining a secure environment.
These accidents do happen. I mean, you need uranium, right?
Of course.
And when you look at the extent that it damages the environment, I was looking at
Has it damaged the UK?
Well, again,
damaged the USA.
One thing that I know about the UK is they know how to. Okay,
Mozambique is here. They're using the same. Has it been damaged? Angola, has it been damaged?
Take a look at what
the whole of Europe, actually.
Yeah, they're using
nuclear.
Yeah. Again, see,
you just can't remain in the doldrums and say
the
environment.
That's
environment. You have
the
to
countries
fight
that you're talking about.
progress.
Look at the horrible. What is the word that I'm looking for?
Deterioration of the environment.
No, not only that. How their weather patterns have changed as a result. What is the word?
Global warming.
Global warming that is happening, and the catastrophe that is happening in the same areas.
But even if you are affected, are you having uranium here?
No. But it's different though.
Because you are also experiencing global warming in this country.
No, again, it's different. The extent that it is hitting us and affecting us here is totally different to what's happening in America.
No, in fact,
the wildfires in Los Angeles, the storms, the hurricanes, and everything else. That is totally different to what we experience.
But here we're having challenges here. I mean, this is not the way it used to be some 20 years ago.
No, I hear you.
It's different. I was lands minister and environment minister. So there's always a conference on these same things. There's always meetings on. There's a committee called the AMSEN. AMSEN is the committee of ministers in Africa in charge of the environment, who sit around and understand how they are getting affected by these same issues. And I came to understand that someone who is smoking and someone who is just sitting inhaling, the guy who is not smoking is even getting affected much more than the guy who's smoking.
In secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
And
it's the same with what we're experiencing with these same things from Europe. Whether we like it or not, what is happening, the world has become a small village. What is happening in Europe, what is happening in China is bound to affect us. Whether we go through that nuclear plant erection or not, we'll still be affected.
And also, just a correction, also, nuclear power plants do not cause global warming.
No,
there's no burning of fossil fuels.
I did not say they do. I say the mining. And what then happens to the environment is what I'm talking about, that it damages the environment.
And most of the uranium in Europe comes from Africa, right?
Yes. Speaking of...
So the damage is actually happening here for global warming, right?
Yes. Again, so it's
like the raw
comes back to your point.
That's like the raw materials. They get the raw materials from here. They go and purify them there.
Yeah, but
they're purifying them there. The effects are happening here in this part of the world where we are.
At the end of the day.
Did you see, I know I digress a little, but still on the environment part. Did you see this Chinese company that dumped, was it acid in a river and killed that river?
Kafubu. On the road.
Oh, yeah, and the fishing is not allowed anymore on that river, yeah.
No.
When was that? Was a month ago, I think. Right?
Yeah, a month or two ago, yeah.
That was insane.
What are we doing about it is the question now.
We've just put it up now.
No, as a country, as government.
Well, we raised this issue as citizens first. And the government came on TV and they told us the measures that they had taken. The company also came and said that they were taking measures they were pouring, is it lime or whatever they were pouring to diffuse the acidity of, I mean, damage was done. And what we can just pray for ourselves that in the future, things like that should never happen. And serious punitive measures need to be taken on the carelessness that costed a lot of things. Because that has got ramifications, eh?
Yeah.
I keep asking this to people that are running for president. So you're president today, Mr. Harry. Give me what you would want to implement or what you'd achieve in the first 100 days.
What I would want to implement is bring a policy in this country where Zambians own this country.
What does that mean?
Look, for 61 years since we got our independence, Zambians have remained strangers in their own country. Zambia has failed to produce a billionaire from the time that we got our independence. Namibia got its independence in 1990. They have 3 non-billionaires there. Angola got its independence in 1975. Don't even talk about billionaires because there's plenty in Angola. South Africa got its independence in 1994. Plenty billionaires. Zambia has not had any billionaires because our policies are tilted towards foreigners. And I don't think the 20% tax breaks, tax holidays, tax incentives that we keep on giving them. Look at the mines, for instance. We've given them tax holidays for 5 years. They can bring in their heavy equipment, machinery, without us taxing them. And yet Zambians who are just going to do simple business, they keep on paying extravagant taxes. And ZRA is not even kind to you and I. Anybody exporting or sending $2,000 and above outside, I mean, the tax clearance certificate, if it's not in good books, you have to pay 15% charge on that. It is those things that are prohibitive, that are making Zambians remain stagnant, that require a leader like the one you are talking to right now to change the narrative.
Right.
Yes. Because me, I'm bored. Very bored. Zambia has a chance when I become president.
So again, first 100 days, you say you've just mentioned one thing?
Then I told you that when I left the Bible, this business of exporting electricity.
So electricity, yeah.
It's gone.
Zambia should be for Zambians.
That is what we're going to
make Zambia great again.
We are also going to, in the first 100 days, we want to make sure that raw materials being exported, like mukula, in its raw form, it has to come to an end. We have to stop that within the first 100 days. There is no way 61 years after our independence, we can still be exporting logs. Imagine, guys. Logs going to China. If the Chinese want our logs, let them bring technology transfer. I have always said foreign direct investment is great for our country, but it needs to come on our terms. We need technology transfer in this country for our youths. You guys look at yourselves the way you're looking. You guys have not gone to beg anybody to employ you. You've sat down, used your imagination, used your intelligence to say we can negotiate our way through life using this ability God has given us. Young guys like yourselves, that is why the issue of youth for me has been brought directly to the office of the president. We need to talk to you directly. The president has to have time, not these fake youth endeavors they are having, where they bring their youth chairman, they bring their constituency chairman, treasurer, put them together and give them money to youths. No, that's not real. We want young entrepreneurs like yourselves with plans to meet me, to meet the cabinet of Zambia. And then you say, this is our blueprint. This is how we want to proceed. What we are lacking is this and that incentive. If you asked me, we will give more incentives to young ones like yourselves.
What kind of incentives?
There are things that you would want to bring in this country, but because of the duty that is heavy on you, we should be able to waiver. There are monies that you would want to access in order to take yourselves to a level where others have reached. But because you don't have that capital, government must have a deliberate policy to ensure that monies are given to you.
So how then will the government be able to generate? Because, of course, if you're not going to begin to waiver certain taxes, how will the government be able to generate enough income?
Why should you even ask me that question, how government generates enough income, when they have reduced the mineral royalty tax in the mines?
The what?
The government has reduced the mineral royalty tax for mines.
Mineral royalty tax.
Percent. Oh, I'm speaking very fast.
Yeah.
Mineral royalty tax. Government, the UPND, when they came in government, the first thing they reduced was the mineral royalty tax.
What is that?
It was 6%, but they took it to 3%.
What is it?
Mineral royalty tax is basically monies that governments get from the mining companies, from the total percentage that they mine. Government was getting 6% of that. But now, when these guys came into government, they said 6% was too much. We should start getting 3%. Now, if you are getting 3% of what you guys are getting, you have lost revenue. Why should we lose that revenue? Our intention.
Well, to attract more investment.
That's the reason that they used. That they want to attract more investments and make the taxing and make the mining be more viable. But what investment have they attracted in the last 4 years that have been government? Because they have brought the same investors that they said they will not bring. When you talk about KCL, you have got Vendetta. It's Vendetta which is doing that. When you talk about Mopani, they have brought IRH from the Middle East, which didn't even bid to be in the position it has found itself in. And they told us they were going to fund the operations of that institution. They have not done that. Those jokes will come to an end because the monies that we are giving foreigners in these tax holidays should be coming to you.
Okay.
You are Zambian. You're the ones who vote.
So that's 100 days.
Yes,
The first 100.
One thing that I can tell you so far is you're pretty articulate about precisely what you want to do.
Thank you.
I sat down here and I asked Miles about the same question. All he could do was tell us what HH is not doing. And I told him, I don't want to hear about what this person is not doing. Tell me what you are going to do. Because the one thing that I've realized about the race that you people have found yourselves in is this is a popularity contest, right? Who's more popular? And one thing that I've sort of gotten to figure out is when you're a technocrat and you speak about things that make sense to Kalenga and myself and maybe a few economists, sadly, that does not resonate with a lot of the people that are the electorate. They want to hear things that excite them. Because at the end of the day, and this is why I've always said I feel like democracy doesn't work. Sadly, this is a democratic nation, and each vote counts for something. So the vote that Kalenga, who has to put into consideration everything that you have said, inflation, direct foreign investment, etc., his vote counts the same as someone who's given a T-shirt and told, vote for me.
Well, you're right, and that's the problem we have. In fact, for me, I'll tell you that I don't appreciate journalists who ask me about Akainde Hichilema this because they're using him as a standard. And this is the problem that the UPN does itself. They are using the PF as a standard. No. We should use our own economic challenges as a standard. Then we'll make progress.
Precisely.
Today in this country, many Zambians are wallowing below the poverty datum line. Why? It's because they can't afford the costs. They can't afford the basic necessities. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection is telling us that a family of 6 requires about 11,000 kwacha for them to buy the basic necessities. My brother there, I don't know how much he earns, but he won't tell me he earns.
What's your salary?
No.
He won't say. Don't say. Please don't. Don't depress us.
But I can only imagine.
Depress us. What?
I can only imagine that maybe he gets 2,500 kwacha, maybe 3,000 kwacha.
Close?
Now, if you're
Close
getting
up.
2,500 kwacha, and the guy stays in, here's Ngombe, I'm in minibus from Ngombe to Roma here where we are, maybe it's 70 kwacha a day. He has to part out with 70 kwacha a day.
Yeah.
You calculate that in a month, how much is he parting our company with? He has to buy a bag of meal, which we were promised, by the way, that was going to be costing us 50 kwacha. It's now 410.
A bag of meal, 25 kg.
Yeah.
When was the last time you bought meal in your house, sir?
It doesn't.
I'm not the one who does the shopping.
Yeah, because you're buying chips.
But whose money is used?
I just supply the money and things come to the house.
And you don't know.
I don't know the price of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in a good space. We're in a good space. You know, I used to put that space as well.
You know, Zenare is watching this, right?
What if I give her a 2-pin?
Okay. He doesn't learn this one.
He doesn't learn.
He does not learn.
What if I give her a 2-pin?
This microphone he's holding has put him in serious trouble with Zeta Ray before. Because what we did not know is they watched this podcast and he made a bold declaration on one of the episodes. And Zeta Ray was like, Achan, you said you make how much? They went and checked out his books.
Yeah.
So be very careful, my man.
No, all I'm saying is I didn't know it was that high. I don't know why I thought it was like in the 200s.
I don't talk about money because I don't like to.
Nigga, isn't he the one who is talking about I'm traveling to what? That's all money?
By
If
bus.
you travel by, come on.
By bus.
Yeah.
I'm taking
Travel by
power
bus, you can tell.
Please check the Q Dube episode, rewind, and talk about I'll be flying to Namibia, then I'll fly to South Africa, then I'll fly to
By
Kenya.
bus. By bus.
You fly on a bus?
Those buses move so fast you feel like you're flying.
You guys are funny.
Mr. Kalaba. Mr. Kalaba, your family life. What is that?
Before you go
we're
there.
still talking
Yeah,
100 days?
before you
Casting
go.
usually when it comes to family life, it keeps telling you before.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
All right, cool. Let's go.
I follow you on Facebook.
Oh, perfect.
Do you manage your own Facebook?
I try as much as possible to manage it.
Do you make the post on your Facebook?
Yes, I do.
I commented on one of your posts.
Which was?
What got us to be where we are now was as a result of you posted something. I will tell you in a second.
Okay.
Or you responded to it. You say what?
It's expensive.
How does the common man, the ordinary man, us ordinary men afford?
I mean, you are not in that bracket like ours because you don't even know how much it costs.
He's rich.
You are very wealthy. But
No, it's not that. I just don't know what things cost. That's all. It's not that I'm.
Sometimes but I don't blame you because sometimes you can give your spouse money
Yeah.
thinking it is enough.
You know, sometimes you'd send her to buy stuff and then she comes out with 2 plastic bags.
Then
And you
what?
gave her a certain amount of money thinking, okay, it's going to be trolleys full.
Oh, no.
And it's 2 plastic bags. And like,
Okay.
I'm sure you spent that money on hair
Today, go in.
and a pedicure and a manicure.
Yes.
I would accuse of those things. But now that you mention such.
Those luxuries have gone.
Yeah.
Only ones having luxuries like that are the two of you here, seated here. The rest of the Zambians are wallowing in abject poverty. They're all struggling.
Sorry,
Tell me.
it's sorry, just a second, because I was just going through my notifications, trying to find the actual post. Oh yeah, so this was the post that you made
On the millimil thing, 408 and 137. Okay.
on the millimil thing, and you said 4 years can make such a huge difference to expose leadership failure.
Yeah.
There is quite a lot, especially when it comes to
Pleasure.
inflation and economics, basically, where, again, I'm not speaking on any point of authority. I am not an economist. I know nothing about this. So the little knowledge that I have is what I'm basing this opinion on, which is when you take over an economy that has been in, for lack of a better term, heading to the ICU, you will need to begin to turn it around. And those effects can still be felt years after that administration might have left. So do you think that you would have done, say you took over from PF, for example, and you took over whatever that PF left, do you think that immediately after your administration came into power, things would be the same? Would they have gotten worse? Would they have gotten better? Just walk me through how that hypothetical.
First of all, I think we are in this position because the current regime had told us that when they come into power, they were going to make things better. So it is not me talking for them. This is what they say to us. They said a bag of mini would cost 50 kwacha. Fuel will be
on that point. So sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish your point. There's this very interesting saying that says a wise leader plants a tree whose shade
they will not even enjoy.
They will not enjoy. So them saying that things would be better is exactly what they're doing now. Again, possibly, which is turning around, stopping the bleeding, and hopefully by the time that even after they leave, you are now in a position where you can run.
You know, I'm reluctant to disagree with you because you've given me an opportunity to be on this podcast. But look, I don't agree with you.
No, you can disagree.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You can disagree.
I know when you say that they're turning things around, I don't think so, because when you look at our mining sector, 78% of what this country exports is coming from the mining sector. And yet, in terms of the GDP, the mining sector only accounts for 12%. They have let it be like that. These are the colleagues who have allowed us to get a foreign company called Mercury to be managing the copper exports of Zambia. A foreign company, Mercury, is now managing all the copper for Zambia on the London Metal Exchange. That's carelessness, in my view, of the highest order. And you can't tell me that is how you stop bleeding. This is an administration which has allowed foreign entities to be seated at Kasumbalesa and getting our money. At Kasumbalesa's border post, it's a foreign company which is getting money from the people and then sharing with government.
What company is that?
Sakanya is a foreign company that is getting money from...
Why are they doing that?
That's the question you should have asked them when they appeared on your podcast. Why have you even allowed a foreign company to do your Lusaka and Dollar dual carriageway when the monies are coming from NAPSA and workers' compensation?
Wait, hold on. The company that you mentioned, what service do they provide?
A Mercury?
No. The one that is that you said is collecting money.
There is a company at Kasumbalesa border post, which the government has contracted. Instead of ZRI sitting there, they have hired another company. They have collected another company, a foreign company, to sit there and collect revenue on behalf of Zambia.
The duty that ZRA normally does.
Yes. They have done the same at Sakanya. They have done the same at Chanida border. They have done the same at all these other border posts. In Chirundo, they have done the same thing.
Interesting.
So, if that is the way you stop the bleeding, then I've got a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always say that we have got businessmen in this country governing our country. Their interests is not on saying that a guy like that who is earning 2,000 kwacha a month begins getting 7,000. That's not their interest. Their interest is how are our own accounts ballooning. And that's where the problem lies. If I were a president, why would I allow a foreign company to manage our border post, especially Kasumbalesa border post? Why would I give a foreign company to run the Lusaka and Dollar dual carriageway when they're using money from the sweat of these...
PPP, maybe?
But if PPP doesn't ask you to get money from other companies, PPP says you raise your own revenue, and then they give you a period of 30 years or 25 years in which you run that project, and then you you recapitalize yourselves using that same project. That's PPP. Now, PPP have given you money already from the Zambian taxpayers. I think that is wrong. Why are we leaving Zambians behind? Those are the issues. That is the homework you have given me as your incoming president next year. Those are the issues I'll be dealing with. I'll be dealing with issues of stopping a foreign company from managing our copper in Zambia. Surely, 61 years after independence, we should go and get a foreigner to manage our copper in London. Wakaunda, when he was president, we had Memako. Did you know Memako? Memako was a metal marketing company. Memako was run by Zambians. It was one of the parastatals. But this Memako, what it was doing was that Memako was making sure that what is being exported and what has been declared by the mines, they were in conformity.
Right.
Today, there's nothing like that. It's Mercury, which is doing that, a foreign company. Now, you can think about how much we are losing. Today, as you and I are speaking, we talk about copper. Nobody talks about cobalt. Just Google for me there. The price of copper right now, I think, is $11,000 per metric ton.
I'll check now.
Yeah. And then the price of cobalt. Where there is copper, there is cobalt. You know that?
And cobalt is almost twice the price.
He will check there. Let him check. If it's not $40,000.
It is actually, yeah. Last I checked.
Somewhere there. Copper is about 9,000 now, and cobalt is about 40,000.
Yeah.
How come we don't talk about cobalt? We only talk about copper. Where is the cobalt going? How come we have got emeralds in this country, Kajem, on the copper belt? How come we don't talk about the emeralds, which we are producing on the copper belt? We talk about copper. Let me become president. Then we hear all these figures and how they're stealing monies.
So it says $4.75 per pound.
What's that?
Copper.
40,000?
$4.75.
No, it can't be.
A pound.
A pound.
Oh, okay.
That's like a kg, right?
That's like a kg, yeah.
So that's about $10 per kg.
Yeah, it should be about $40,000 a ton.
If it's $10, so it comes to $40,000 then
per ton.
Yeah,
a metric ton.
Yeah.
So if cobalt is $40,000 per metric ton, and the copper is $9,000 per metric ton, why are we only talking about copper? Because cobalt, where there is copper, there is cobalt as a byproduct or as one of the things. There's zinc, there's tin, there's lead, there's cobalt. Nobody talks about cobalt. They're exporting it like that. They're declaring it as copper. But when they go to their places, they now begin separating. Cobalt is here, copper is here. They're having a killing. And in your minds, you say, while we are making a killing, we also have to give you some tax holidays. You guys cannot be paying for 5 years. You will have tax holidays so that you can continue enjoying. And a guy like Harry Kabala, who's running a smoke and timber, he has to pay through the nose. That's not the way you thank people who voted for you in government.
So cobalt is about $24,000 per ton.
There you go.
That's still way higher than copper, though.
So the question I was asking here is, why are we not talking about cobalt? Kalumbila just talks about copper. We mine copper this. We mine copper this. But where is the cobalt? Where is the gold which people are mining? Because even there in Kalumbila and where, there is gold being mined. Nobody is talking about the gold. Because we have a bunch of leaders that are compromised.
Okay.
Family life.
Back to family.
Finally.
There's a song called Finally, right?
By Your Maps. Well, the song that actually brought him to the fore.
It is Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, so maybe this is going to bring me to the fore as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Was your father a chief?
Yes.
Chimese?
Yes.
Oh.
That's you.
Okay.
You know that?
That's
Yeah.
ChatGPT that's telling him that.
No,
Oh,
check ChatGPT is going to show you that.
I was almost like, you guys.
No, it's not a ChatGPT. It doesn't show that.
Area.
No, it doesn't show that. But I hang around that area a lot. So during the campaigns, I would, for radio's sake, because I was on radio in Nakonde for a while, so would pick up that information during your campaigns.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
So you're the son of a chief.
I am a son of a chief. And yet, see how humble I am. You can't even pick it.
I don't know what humility means or looks like in this case. But what was it like growing up a son of a chief?
Well, it doesn't get to your head. You don't even know that you are a son of a chief. Because when I was growing up, my father had not yet been.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But my father was a politician like me.
Oh, serious?
Yes. I'm in the constituency where I stood as member of parliament.
He was MP there.
Dad was there for 15 years.
As MP?
As MP. My father was minister of cooperatives in this country.
Oh,
Under Kaunda.
and I know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
My father was minister of cooperatives under Kaunda.
So you grew up soft, as the kids would say today. You grew up comfortable.
I grew up quite comfortable.
Okay.
But I'll tell you my story that even though my father was minister, I am the only child of my father that refused to be taken to school by his vehicle. I used to walk.
Why?
With my colleagues. I don't know, but that's just me. I just told my dad, first of all, I'll not learn driving from any of your vehicles. I never learned driving from my dad. I said, the first car I will drive is the one I will buy myself. And I bought that.
Why do rich kids behave like that a lot? Remember, I was talking about this on the podcast as well. Like, you've got every privilege that you were a rich kid.
Never.
You were comfortable.
I was comfortable, but not rich. No. UNIP didn't give that. There was leadership code in UNIP. Eh?
Those what?
Leadership code.
Well,
leadership code was basically, if you are a minister, you're not supposed to be doing businesses.
Serious?
Yes. That's Kaunda. That's why you saw a lot of development happening, because ministers were not bidding for contracts. No. The only one who was allowed, or the provisions allowed you, if you want to be earning a salary, business. But if you want to be doing business, then you'll not be earning a salary from government. And Kavindele
took the risk. Yeah, Enoch Kavindele
chose not to be getting a salary. He says, I'll be making my own money from business. And that's how Kaunda was doing it. I think that's how China does it. That's how they do it in Russia.
So it's like a communist thing.
Yeah, that's how they do it. That's how we're doing it before. So my father was Minister of Cooperatives in UNIP.
Okay.
He was Minister of State. And towards the end was Minister of Cooperatives. And he was MP in Bahati for 3 terms. I was MP for Bahati for 2 terms. I won because I stood on my father's shoulders. I would never have won. It's not easy to be an MP. Don't be cheated. It's not easy. More especially in the rural place like Bahati.
Yeah.
Nah.
I've been there.
You've been there, eh?
I've been there before.
That's a rural place, eh?
Yeah.
But to go and speak their local language and convince them that it is me, and I was only 34 years old, standing against a provincial minister. Yes, in 2011, standing against a provincial minister, and I beat him. Huge. The power of young guys like yourselves, they supported me a lot in Bahad, and I hope you can do the same next year.
Well,
I always tell people, before you finish, that I'll be the first president who to run the affairs of this country born after independence.
Yeah.
Because all of them were born before independence.
To your advantage, 70% of our audience are between 21 and 45, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Mostly. Yes.
I'm your man.
Yeah. So mostly the youth.
I'm yours. Try me.
What's one thing again that I wanted to bring up when it comes to politics? There has been this Tonse Alliance that I've been seeing on social media.
UKA, Tonse Alliance.
And so many other different opposition parties. Correct me if I'm wrong, again, right? Sort of like coming together like Voltron into Tonse. What's your thought around that?
Look, I think what is happening in the political space is that people have realized that to remove Mr. Hakainde Hichilema from power, we need to come together and fortify ourselves. But I always tell people that for me, it is beyond removing Hakainde Hichilema from power. It's about changing the fundamentals in this country. It's about having the correct leader in there. Because if we change power for the sake of changing it, we might have a problem. We must change power.
For the right reason.
Yes, for the right reason, and give it in the right hands. Then we are going to make progress as a country. So I believe that UPNDS has failed, according to me. Totally failed, and they don't deserve to be voted back into office come next year. And that's what we're offering ourselves as citizens first.
So would you be part of this Tonse Alliance?
I don't have to be part of the Tonse Alliance, but we are working closely with Tonse Alliance.
Right.
We work with Tonse, we work with UKA, we work with all alliances and all other parties around. We want to work with them so that we can fortify ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The English adage, united we stand, divided we fall, is very real. Yeah.
So when you say working together, what does that look like come election period next year? Come election day next year?
Well, I can't tell the modus operandi, but somehow we have to find a way of having maybe one candidate. Remember in 2021, 16 presidential candidates. 16. And I came out third.
You came out third?
Yeah.
So just pause there. Virgin.
How are we looking? Are we off?
All right, cool.
Did we go off though? Oh, okay, we're good.
No, I think we just lost the lights. You came out third.
I came out third.
That's massive.
16 presidentials like India, eh? No, India, they got about 100, yeah?
India, with all kinds of...
Listen, they got 1 billion people.
Yeah.
But you see, India's elections takes 90 days, eh?
Really?
Because it's 1 billion people voting.
Yeah. Who's going to count all those votes? True.
So now, who came second?
It was President Longo.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's a stupid question.
No, but
you came third.
I came third.
Yeah, third.
That's impressive.
Pay attention to what I'm doing. Pay attention.
But, generally as a country, we're feeling like opposition is not strong enough right now in this country. Because you're not quite making the noise. If I make comparison to people like Michael Sata in 2011, you're not making
But that's the mistake.
The noise that the person like Michael Sata made in 2011.
The environment Michael Sata was involved in and the environment
that you're in today.
It's different. Today, the noise I'm making is on podcasts. Today, the noise I'm making is going on community radio stations.
I don't know if you knew this.
Today is Facebook. Yeah?
I don't know if you knew this, that...
Donald Trump?
Trump. I was about to say the same thing. Trump and Obama. Do you know that the podcast is single-handedly what got them elected?
There you go. My son, who has also been very involved in me being here on this program, has been pushing me to be on platforms like this. And
does your son know about this podcast?
Of course, he's the one who even sent me a list. That's why I was asking in the beginning. I said, who has organized this? Because this morning, he's the one who called me and told me, Dad, have you been told to go for this podcast? So I said, yes, I'm going. He says, yeah, you better go in time because these guys are on time,
How old is he?
My son is 22.
Oh, nice. Oh. Remember what I said? The people that watch this between 21 and... So he's like right within the demographic of...
He knows you guys a lot because I think you are his friends. So...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so the noise that Sata was making is different from the noise that we are making now.
Yeah.
And let's not be unfair to the leaders that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
You have given us various platforms which we are using, which were not there at that time.
Yeah.
Surely, I will be encountering people for the first time who have never seen me talk the way I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you didn't know I could talk like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Today you have seen me.
Yeah.
And you are shocked I came out third.
Right.
Because you've not paid attention. But now you pay attention, you see me more.
Yeah.
And you hear me more because in life, you see what you want to see. And you hear what you want to hear.
True.
So,
the law of attraction.
Now that you know about Harry and that he was third in the election of 16 contenders, so now you know that this guy...
How many votes was for you to be third?
I got about 25,000 votes.
That's impressive, though.
Now, people say, oh, that's little votes. According to the one got 1 million. How come in Bahati alone I was getting 14,000 votes? It is true. The spirit guiding a presidential election and one guiding a parliamentary election are two different things.
Yeah.
Because a presidential election, people will give you because they believe this one should be.
Right.
And remember, the election in 2021 was a two-way horse race.
Yeah.
to even come out where I came out there, it means Zambians are looking at me very seriously.
Who would be your running mate?
I can't tell now. But a guy like you wouldn't be a bad idea.
A guy like who?
Like you.
Oh, man. Can you picture me as vice president? Oh.
What's wrong with you?
My man. No, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing, yeah.
My man.
You are cool. You are learned.
Right.
You know, the youths will be proud to have one of theirs in there.
Yes, they
in there.
Yes, they will.
And that's what we're looking at. You know, we shock people.
Nelson,
Nelson, look at
work on your papers real quick.
look at Trump. He gets
J.D. Vance.
He gets that guy. How do you pronounce his name? The defense secretary, who was like you guys.
Not like us. He was a drunk.
He's there.
I don't know if you saw this, that for the second time he's used Signal again to communicate military plans.
Stuff, and he's in trouble.
He's in trouble this time because the first time he wasn't. Trump defended him.
Trouble now. He's in big trouble.
As he should be.
Yeah, he's in big trouble.
As he should be. Look,
I just love the style of giving opportunities to everybody.
I agree. Look, I always come when I meet people, politicians especially. I always come with a blank canvas. I never have any preconceived notions as to who you are or what you're about to say. The only impression that I had of you was just basically of what you would post on social media. But I've gotten a totally different picture as to who you are. And I did say this, that based off some of the people that I have spoken to, I don't know what came out of when we spoke to Sean Tembo, when we spoke to Tayali, when we spoke to Malsam
Combo.
But no, not Gary. I'm talking about opposition.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Okay.
I've never really gotten tangible, specific things when I say, tell me what it is that you're going to do.
It's always what the man
Don't tell me what
the president is not doing.
Is not doing. Tell me what you're going to do. If you are president today, what are things that I can look forward to? That I can, if I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, I will say, you came here and you told me that you are going to make this available. And when you make this available, the snowball effect is that it will begin to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So like you said, if more companies come in here and create jobs instead of these people coming in and taking our wood and developing it there, come in and set up your factories here. Yeah. And that creates jobs, right? So tangible and specific things like that. I like the answer you gave on energy. Really not truly convinced on nuclear yet because of
I'm sold.
You are sold.
I'm sold on nuclear.
I'm not because of the side effects that it would. And I saw
even you marrying your girlfriend has got side effects.
You say what?
Even you marrying that woman,
and that's why I'm not married.
You're not married, but
no, I'm
married, right?
No, but his point is there's side effects to everything.
No, I hear you, but now
remaining single like that,
yes,
there are ramifications.
100%.
So in anything you do in life, you'll not hold back. Because you do not have effects.
Even medication. Yeah. That's
going to make you well has side effects.
It has got side effects too. So I totally agree. Yeah. What you need to ask yourself is, are the side effects, do they outweigh the benefits?
Exactly.
It's what you now need to sit and
the side effects
explore.
will not outweigh the benefits with nuclear energy.
I'm happy for us to make that debate. Well, not now. At a different time, I would want us to make that debate.
Please, just do your investigation right.
Okay, Elson, what if the uranium is being imported from Congo? And we just, with nuclear fission, produce electricity.
No,
there's no harm to
that. There. So we'll be getting it from Siavonga and then bringing it here.
Yeah. So
and what does it do?
Because already we are selling it anyway from Siavonga. We sell it out.
So we might as well use it.
Yeah, why not? Don't do it
at the end of the day
ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Any more questions from you?
No, I'm good. Married? How many kids?
I'm married to a lady called Irene.
Irene, of course. I mean, the one who got the call.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you had to specify that it's a lady that you're married to.
No, in this day and age, you have to specify, actually.
Yeah, because it's some people are not straight, so we have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How long have you been married?
This is 2025.
Yes.
We got married in 2001.
Wow.
24 years
before your accident.
Yeah. 24 years.
Okay. How many kids?
3.
Boys, girls?
Yes.
That you know of?
That I know of. Why do you mean? I told you between us, we've got 3 children.
Oh, of course. Right.
Chitekela, Mtende, and Luce.
Boys, girls?
Chitekela is a boy, the one who has been pushing me to come on this.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And the other brother of his, Mutende,
Uh-huh.
and then Luce.
Luce.
Luce, yeah.
It's a girl?
It's a girl.
Two boys, one girl. Nice. Okay.
How is it when you are the father of a child, like your parenting skill when you parent a child versus how you parent your sons? Is it the same? Is it? Are
you parent a
softer?
child and your sons?
What's that?
No, I'm saying the way you parent, the way you are with your daughter, the way you raise your daughter, the way you parent your daughter, is it different to how you would parent and raise your son?
It's different. It's different because girls are different.
So tell me how you.
I spend more time with my daughter. I find time to take her out for breakfast as the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I make sure that she receives more attention than those two guys, because girls by nature in our environment are vulnerable.
Yeah.
So the girl child has to learn that she's got a father in her life who will stand with her and ensure that she doesn't look at other boys as being a source of strength. When she will decide to marry, it's because she wants to marry, not because she's looking for strength. She already has strength in the father who's running for president.
Amen.
In Bahati, it's a very rural area.
Yeah.
And Kaleng and I spoke several times about the things that are practiced, especially in rural areas where families give really young girls away for marriages at very young ages.
Yeah.
12, 13, they're being given away to get married. You remember when we spoke to the other lady from the UN, and she spoke of I forget was the name City or City like this man in a village. His role is to have sex with girls before they get married to make sure that they're able to satisfy their husbands. And this, in this day and age, is still happening. Where if that person who's
Never heard of that.
Do you remember that the lady who we called Kalenga? You say what?
Oh, the one who said chief tester, yeah?
Yes. What was
What's the name again?
Was it City or something like that? But there is a man whose job is to
In this
do
country?
that. In this country. And we got this from someone who works for the United Nations because they would go out into the villages doing their research. So
I've never heard of it.
in the two things that I've just mentioned, did any of that, especially families giving away their very young daughters because of poverty or different things, up for marriage?
The biggest challenge that I experienced when I was a member of parliament in that rural constituency was, first of all, the vulnerability of the girl child. Yes, some get married as young as 12 years old because of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And some it's because of the ignorance of the father. They think that the child is like cattle. You have to benefit before even they would say. And I always used to have challenges with such parents. And they would stop their children from going to school. So in the rural areas, you find that there are less girls in class compared to the boys, because the girls are not encouraged to go to school because they're encouraged to look after a man and prepare for marriage at the age of 10. The mother is already training a young girl now to look after a man. It's painful. Horrible.
I saw that in Mumbai a lot. 12-year-old girls, plenty of them. I'm thinking, where's the MP? Where's the church? Where are the teachers?
Getting married.
I want to call my contact from the UN just so they tell you exactly in which area and what the name of this chief tester.
They better not say it is Bahati.
I
know, right?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing?
So quick one again. I'm not going to say your name just like I did the last time. So we're speaking to a presidential candidate on the podcast. You remember the issue that I asked you the last time concerning that chief tester?
Yes,
What did you say that the name that they call that person is?
Afisi.
Did you get that?
No.
Okay, I'm going to hand the phone to him.
Assisi.
You can just hold this to the microphone as you ask questions.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Great. Harry Kabala is my name here.
Okay, Mr. Kalaba.
Assisi. Which part of Zambia is that?
Eastern Province.
Eastern Province. Where exactly?
Usually it happens in Katete and some isolated part of Eastern provinces. Some of them use chief testers or sometimes called hyenas, and in some parts of Malawi as well. So a man called Afifi basically testing if the child is ready for marriage.
So he has sex with them.
And how does he test?
Basically, or say defilement or rape with the children or women, because the family, though consents on the child's behalf, that they should undergo through that process to know if she's ready to satisfy a man well in bed.
I've never heard of it, and I think if it's happened, maybe this is something that should be reported to the authorities, because then that is defilement, as you've rightly put it, and you can't sit on defilement. Yeah,
I think the information is there. Even when you Google it, it's there. It's common knowledge. It's on Google. The information is right. There's the articles that have been written about it, and you can get full information.
in Katete.
Of course, it's in Katete and some isolated districts. Of course, it's closely guarded information in the communities. They may deal with you, but in Malawi, one was uncovered. Some arrests were made. So I think it's something that you would look into.
I've taken interest in that. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. So again, these are
Interesting.
Yeah.
Times, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why you feel about Kalaba?
Now you feel like it's sad. Eh?
Very sad.
And now imagine if this, if a man like this is sick, and
It's spreading.
is spreading, and that child is doomed as they enter marriage already.
The future is bleak. You can't allow that.
Yeah.
Right. And it said that in this day and age, like I said, things like these are still happening.
Shocked. Huh?
Yeah. Well, again, it could be common practice in that
The
area.
villages,
But
yeah.
she says it's guarded. It's not something that is even open. Like it's a thing that, like the way you see in Swaziland, where they parade themselves.
Exactly.
But
just
it is a secret. So it is done secretly so that nobody should know. So parents hand over to the man to train our child, quietly. Sad.
Mr. Kalaba, thanks a lot for coming through.
We greatly appreciate this. We see a part
Totally.
two.
Great.
There's a lot that I feel we left on the table. So I really like your takes on Facebook. So I think a part two is in order.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful for the opportunity you've given me.
Yeah.
And for you, the viewers out there, begin following my Facebook page. Harry Kabala.
Shameless
You've
plug.
got over 800,000 followers.
There you go, yeah.
Imagine if you could
6.
convert all those to votes, eh?
Every single one of your followers into a vote.
But the irony is that it's your critics who are even following you closely to
Yeah, true.
You post something and the first one to criticize you is also following
They
you.
call you Scarface.
They say you're not going anywhere. They're calling you Scarface. They're saying there's nowhere you're going, but they're the ones who are always following your page.
Yeah.
If I'm not going anywhere, what are you doing on my page?
Touche.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's because you love me.
It's your haters who follow you the closest all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming
All
through, sir. Really appreciate
Is
it.
there anything that we didn't ask you that you hoped we would?
I think
Something that was on your mind?
you guys were
Thorough.
we are very thorough. I think you've asked every single question. You've touched the politics, social life, you've touched the economy, so
Family.
family.
But if you ever called, would you be the chief after
No,
your
I
father?
can't, because we are matrilineal.
Oh, so it goes to a nephew, your father's
My
nephew.
nephews, yes, my father's nephews. They're the ones
Right.
who take over.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
No, great. Thanks a lot for this. We need to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. On Facebook, keep hitting, but YouTube specifically, let's click away. Did you see that we've hit the 7 million mark in terms of the number of views that we've had now?
Oh, serious? I was actually on YouTube right now. I didn't see that.
So click and subscribe. Let's get the numbers up so we get important people like Mr. Kalaba here.
To take us seriously. To the next episode, have a lovely day.